Everybody, it's Ali Dewji.
And Mikhail Dewji with the 4th episode of the DRIP.
The Drip Podcast, or the GRI Podcast. It's just the Drip.
Drip.
Honestly, it's Ali and Mick with the Drip.
With the drip.
With the Drip. Let's do it, baby. So we've got a really special guest on today.
Someone we've been wanting to have on for quite some time. You have a lot of history with this person in the business.
That's correct. And I think we're going to talk about origin story.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss
where she's headed in the future.
Yeah. Where she's headed in the future, and mindset, hustle mindset, and really what's important in life.
Absolutely.
We're going to hope that it brings you guys some value.
Yep.
And open some eyes of things that you might not already know.
Stay tuned, and we hope you enjoy the rest of this podcast.
It's Ali Dewji
and Mikhail Dewji.
Drip Podcast, baby.
Stay tuned.
Mick, Farah, welcome to the DRI Podcast.
Thank you.
We're super, super excited to have you here. Mick, how long have we been thinking about bringing Farah on?
Since the very beginning, when we were brainstorming ideas, you were like top 3.
Oh, I'm very honored to be here.
I think it was one of those things where we were like, we want to get the process right.
Exactly.
Before we bring on, a celebrity such as ALT.
To be
I
here.
think she's actually a real celebrity, like TV worthy celebrity.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that, because I don't think a lot of our viewers actually know the origin story.
Yeah.
And, we could tell it, but why not ask?
Yeah, it sounds better from the origin.
So why don't you go ahead, Mick? Ask them, ask the question you want to ask.
We're super interested to know, where this all started. But before the interior design staging bit started, where did Farah Dalla come into the picture?
Well, I always thought I was going to be a journalist and a reporter. So I got a journalism degree from Ryerson University, started working as a reporter.
Wow.
And then realized that it wasn't the career for me. It was just, the stories were a little bit too hard. One of the stories I remember vividly was having to interview a mom who had just lost her son to a stray bullet.
Oh my God.
It was terrible. And I couldn't do that story. Then my news director assigned another story, which was there was a child who was found in a dump truck.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, just heavy stuff, And so my news director, he says to me, Farah, you would do great in weather. So I was like, okay, got into weather and then got my meteorology certificate to be a meteorologist. And then while I was doing that, I had a child. And when that happened, my priorities changed. As you know, Ali has 5 at home, so I'm sure you can resonate. But so I started then realizing that this probably isn't going to be my ideal career, because I was working from 3 p.m. to midnight on the news for City News in Toronto. It was just away from her,
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I always had a passion for interior design. And I started decorating my own house, and people would comment like, Farah, this looks so beautiful, And I was like, yeah. And they asked me to do it for them. And I started doing it for friends and family. And one thing led to another. And one gentleman, who I'll never forget, looked at me and he said, this little side hustle of yours can be a real business one day. So I was juggling both careers. I was doing meteorology during 3 to midnight. And then from 8 to 2, I was staging.
Goodness.
So I was just
Where did you sleep?
I didn't. And a lot of, entrepreneurs, I'm sure, that are watching this can also resonate with the fact that you don't sleep when you're building a business, especially if you're passionate about something. So anyways, when 2019 came around, I was offered a raise at City News to work more. And at the same time, my business was taking off. So I had to make a decision at that point. And I decided to trust my gut and go into interior design and staging full time.
Hold on, that was 2019?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Yeah. Oh my goodness, because by then we were already working together.
Yeah, I was still working at City News at that time.
That's amazing.
Just exiting. And I opened ALT Interiors in 2016.
Amazing.
Yeah. So it took me 3 years to eventually completely go into it.
So who is this gentleman that, sort of persuaded you to go with your gut feeling and take the business to the next level and go forward with it through and through?
he was a realtor. His name I'm just gonna say it's Jan Chan. That's his name, Jan Chan.
Shout out.
Shout
Shout out to Jan Chan, man. We
I'll never forget when he said to me, Farah, this little side business could really be a full business. And that was that same day that I registered the business officially.
seriously,
Yeah.
like just like you're like,
I just
this
went
is-
online and I'm like, how do I register a business so that it's a real business?
Wow. Sometimes it's just random people that come into your life
Yes.
and spark such a flame.
Yes.
And
And then the rest is
the
history.
rest is history.
Exactly.
Exactly. So how did you guys meet? That's what I'm curious to know, because you guys have been working together for a while.
Very
I know as soon as I started, you said, you know what, Mick, I have a stager. So if you want to look for other trades, you can, but don't look for stagers.
Yeah.
We have.
And I bet you were like, what do you mean? There's so many other
There's
options.
so many staging
sure.
options.
sure you
You
would.
do a good job, but
But one of the key things in this industry is relationships. And that is so valuable, way more than a one-time stager that might do something for half the price that I can do it for. By the way, no matter what, I'll always help Ali. Like you have to put your money on your relationships. You know what I mean? So that's something that he knows very well. This is a people business.
100%. So I had sold my first property, and I wasn't really happy with the staging. So my next listing, I called Farah. I had seen her on social media, and I had, social media, it works, right? So I'd seen her on social media, and I was like, wow, I'm really amazing staging, like the on-screen presence. This is obviously, I didn't know Farah. I didn't know the whole background of her media persona. And I reached out to a Ladies Touch, and I was like, hi, I'd like to speak to Farah. And it was one of her administrators. I can't remember her name anymore. She's no longer with the company.
Yeah, she's
So she's like, oh, okay, no problem. And then Farah came down to the property. It was in North York, and she came down and, did everything. And I was like, Farah, she's like, well, what are you looking to do here? I said, everything. I need to make sure we get top dollar. She's like, what's the story? And I told her, I said, it was a client whose mom was moving into a nursing home. And so it's this is the house that his father used to live in. Like, we're talking about old carpets, we're talking about brown walls, armoires with like ancient stuff, old dated lights. And I was like, I need this place to sparkle. She's like, all right, Ali, this is what we got to do. And I'm like, tell me. She's like, we got to paint it. We got to change the lights. We got to do this. I'm like, all right, fine. So she's like, all right, so do you want to run this with the client? I said, no. She's like, what do you mean? I said, no, I'm taking care of it.
Yeah.
She's like, on you? I'm like, yeah, I'm taking care of it. I was like, all right. And I said, well, I don't have a painter. So she's like, I got someone. She brought in her painter, Fernando. At the time, we used to use him a lot. Fernando, right? Was that? No, not Fernando. Armando?
I forgot. But
these are very painter names. Though.
But he
Fernando
wasn't.
Armando.
We'll just call him Fernando. I like
Yeah,
that.
sure.
But there was an incident with that. I don't think he did a good job.
He didn't. And you know what? I didn't have the... So okay, we get that done. We get the lights. We get everything done, right? So Farah comes back before staging, and she's like, Ali, I'm seeing this paint spots on the floor. And I'm like, yeah, I know. She's like, did you say anything? And I said, I feel bad. She's like, I'm sorry, that's unacceptable. She had him come back, sort out everything, right? And I was like, this is and staging interior design is a more dominant in the female industry.
It's all about a lady's touch.
It is all about the ladies' touch. But she ran it like a boss. Like she was like,
Thank you.
why did you pay him? No, this needs to be done. I'm all for paying for hard work, but this is unacceptable. You should have put drop cloths, should have put this. And the way she did it, I was like, oh shit. And, I realized at that time that I started to realize that this is somebody that I could use and utilize to be able to grow my business and work with. And it just continued to continue. Where Farah really...
Condo do, by the way.
It did great. We sold it. I think we sold it in a matter of days, Farah. Yeah.
Yes.
We sold it in a matter of days. We blew the highest competition out of the water. And, it was stressful. Like, this is my second listing. I've, when you first get into the business, I joined Remax. And Remax has a lot of desk fees. At first, you're like, they get you, they're like, we're Remax, we're the best in the business. We got this, we got that. And you're like, all right, let's do this. And then, you get an office and you're sitting there and it's 8:30 at night and everyone's gone home and you're looking at rental leads, trying to figure out like, can I make it? Am I cut out for this? Why has everyone got deals but me? This is my second deal. I need this to go through.
Yeah.
I've spent a ton of money. I'm nervous. And
It's a lot of realtors right now. That story that you're saying,
Yeah.
a lot of realtors are going through that.
they are.
It's a story about a lot of realtors right now.
And I think you got to trust the process,
You got to
right?
trust the process, right?
Excellent.
And it's not just the what Farah and her team does from the design standpoint, but what they do from the mental standpoint. So where I really saw the value was my first $1 million listing, 19 Shadow Falls in Richmond Hill. And this thing was like a big one for me, right? I was super excited when I got this. I called them. I was like, I am the guy. I am the guy. They're like, well, this other guy does it for this percentage point. And I said, no, I'm not reducing commission, but I will make sure that this home sparkles. So I called Farah. I'm like, Farah, I need the baby's touch on this home. Literally what I said. So Farah's like, Ali, I got you. She comes in. We do everything. I cover painting, lights, this, that. She had her chandelier guy come in. To the point that when we were going through the walkthrough, one of the chandeliers was missed when I did the walkthrough. And I said, Farah, we missed this. She sent the guy back, covered the cost of the light. Just did like outlandish stuff.
Wow.
Then COVID hits.
Oh no.
Oh my God. Yes.
Then COVID hits. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like I'm stressed out of my mind. I've got 5 mouths at home. At the time, 4. I got 4 mouths at home. I'm stressed. Like I've dumped in a ton of cash. I promised the client the world and it just wasn't selling. And you know what Farah said to me? She goes, Ali, if it doesn't sell, I don't even know if I can say this.
Say it.
I'm not going to charge you for the staging. And I said, no, Farah, you know, I'm a man of God. I explained to her what Huck means. And I was like, this is your right. She's like, no, I'm a
God in God.
You know what? I just love that story. And I forget all that. But I was investing in you, you know, like that. And that's what I mean. It's not transactional. It's
more
like
about the relationship.
Absolutely. Because you go out of your way for people, they'll remember that. And they'll be your client and your friend, hopefully forever, right? Because
Absolutely.
too many people are out there just thinking, what about me? What about me? What more can I do for myself? And it's like, why don't you take a minute and think about what you can do for someone else and then see how the rest of your day plays.
So I guess that's sort of the vision that you had.
Yeah, I just really enjoyed seeing, you know, the both of you, right? You as well, because you are part of the Dewji team, but Ali was all about his client. He was like, I need to do more than what any other realtor will do. I mean, he commanded more commission, right? So yeah, we're in there changing light fixtures. Yeah, we're going to give him new paint colors, this and that, because he's really going the extra mile for his client. And he's every single house that we've staged for Ali and you guys have sold and blown out of the water. And let me ask you, have you received any other leads from those sales?
Absolutely.
Other people on the block are like, I want to work with those guys.
Yeah. I mean, the first one that I did with you was 24 Allerton.
Yes.
And that was...
tough one.
Yeah.
Oh,
but I mean, from going into that property, super late at night, we had a funny story when we went into that property.
We got into a fight with a biker.
What happened?
We got into a fight with a biker. This guy was like, okay, so he was an African-Canadian individual. And
Tough guy,
eh?
Right. And we had just come back from the gym.
We had just come back.
So we're sweating. We're like,
you know, ready to go. So this is what happened.
Hot-handed, cold-blooded.
Oh, we're like, so we pull up and there's this pickup truck parked in the driveway of the property where you're coming tomorrow to stage.
Yes, I recall that. There was a pickup truck.
Right. So I go and I pull up in a sort of aggressive manner and I'm like, hey, is this your truck? And he's like, yeah. I was like, sorry, I'm actually listing this house for sale. And I'm like,
He didn't say sorry.
Okay, continue, Mick.
No, I mean, no, let me hear your story. Go ahead. He didn't say sorry. You know, you got to move your truck. He's like, what? It's like, yeah, you know, I'm staging the home. Tomorrow it's going on the market. You got to move your truck. And he's like,
who is this guy parking on a property that's not his?
He lived at the end of the street. So we ended up becoming friends. But wait, continue.
Okay. Like,
so then
you don't live here.
So then just the way he said it, obviously Ali didn't like it. So he got out of the car and he's like, you know, this is my buddy's home. We're staging it. We're selling it. You got to move your car because this, that, and this. He's like, listen, I know this guy and I'm responsible for the lawn care and I'm responsible for the landscaping. And I go in and I make sure everything's okay on a frequent basis. So who the heck are you? And then what is it that you said?
So he goes, you know, the previous guy didn't have a problem with me parking here. I said, well, I'm not the previous guy. Number one. Number two is that I need you to move your truck. He's like, I'm not moving my truck. And so I'm like, bro, I'm not in the mood for this, right? Like it's late at night, like you said, we just come back from the gym, like adrenaline's pumping, we're feeling macho. And this like 6-year-old like dude is like sitting there talking smack to me, right? So I get up in his face and he's like, and then he starts talking shit to me. And he's like, you know what? The fuck you gonna do? This and that. What are you gonna do, right? And then I was like, oh my goodness. I start taking pictures of the car. of the truck that's sitting there because I'm getting ready to send it to my client, and I'm like, you know, when you feel that adrenaline flow, when you feel that rush, that energy, you're like, I was like, all right, fine, whatever. He goes inside, he comes back outside, and now he gets right up in my face, right? It's like, what are you gonna do? Da, 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 da. And at this moment, I thought about it. I said, there's not a lot of 60-year-olds that are gonna get this brazen to, you know, a 30-year-old looking dude when there's two of us. So I said, you know what? What's your name? And he gave me his name. I said, you know what? I think we started off on the wrong foot. He's like, you bet your damn ass we did. I was like, my name's Ali. He's like, my name's Ron. I said, Ron, nice to meet you. I said, so I did this whole thing, and the whole thing just fizzled out, and it calmed down. Ends up finding out that this guy is a member of a bikers gang that is an affiliate, not gang, but an affiliate of another biker club that is known as an Angel Club. And so I was like, he's like, yeah, because people of color are not allowed in the Angels. So, you know, anyways, this guy ended up being such a nice dude. And he helped me whenever I had it. But
we needed pliers, we needed some tools.
What's a lesson to learn out of that? You know, like there's so many ways you can approach things. But like if you approach it from a place of respect and empathy, you're more inclined to get the response that you want.
Absolutely.
What did they say? You catch more flies with honey?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it was
story.
It was really a learning experience. And this guy, right, like my younger brother, my best friend. So when he got up in my face, this guy just went like,
you were ready.
Yeah. He was ready. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I told him, and this guy, and so he has a pickup truck and he has a Bentley. So I said, Mick, this is before we.
And he had a huge dog.
He had like,
and I don't like dogs.
A Corso, a Cane Corso,
oh, beautiful
right?
Dog.
A beautiful dog, but intimidating dog.
Yeah, it'll tear you apart.
So I even said to Mick, I said, Mick, let him touch me. I can't wait to take the keys to that Bentley once he does. Right? And this is when like we're just that street type of. But you know what? Anyways, I remember that I was selling a house in Patterson, Vaughan. And this wasn't the hoods of Scarborough where I grew up, and I needed to just slow my roll.
It's funny because when I got to the stage in the morning, I think I called you. I'm like, what is this truck doing here?
Yeah.
And you're like, took a deep breath. You're like, I'll handle it.
Yeah. And I messaged him, and he's like, sure thing, Ali. I'll move the truck.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So before you get to a house, the realtor gives you the address. What sort of things do you go through? What are the steps that you take in order to make sure that the house is presentable and you can get top dollar for it? It's not scripted.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, it's more like intuitive.
Absolutely. So the key thing about staging is helping the buyer envision themselves living there.
Mm-hmm.
So every time when we go into a stage, I'm thinking, how are we going to tell a story that the buyer is going to say, oh, I can see my kids, sitting on the sectional watching a movie, or I can see my wife or me cooking here, So we want to make sure that there's all kinds of signs that tell the buyer, this is my home. So that's kind of how we do it. When we walk in, if the house has been lived in, it's not brand new, it's so important to clean like crevices, because something that's well maintained, it demonstrates value. So I'm always looking at like the small details. And sometimes I'll call Ali and yourself also, Makal, and I'll say, that the shower tile is cracked. You want to pay attention to that, because if you give the buyer a reason to think that house isn't in tip-top shape, then they're going to go into the attic and they're going to start looking around and digging for other, blemishes in the house. So it's just, when you're selling a house, and you guys know this better than me, but of course you can sell a house for any price. But the idea is to rinse as much value from that house, from that biggest investment of yours as possible. And the key to doing that is hiring a professional stager that's going to make sure that house is really standing out so you can get top dollar.
I think the term stager is doesn't do justice, right? It's more like, I think, you're like a home therapist, right? Like, because when I had gone into business, and you introduced me to a painter, and then obviously as I progressed into my career, I found my own painters and electricians, and you've helped me out throughout that process. But it's when I think it was like my second or third or fourth stage I'd done with you, I started to tell my clients, like, I'm going to make you sign, and I never did, but I'm going to make you sign that once we're done staging, you cannot back out, because every single time, once we were done with the home, when they walked in, they're like, yeah, we're not sure we want to sell this home, right? Always, because we would go from like brown walls, pink walls to Balboa mist, silver satin, right? OC26, OC27, right? We would go through that. We would go through the light fixtures. We would do that whole thing. And, you know,
They fell in love with their home.
they fell in love with their home again. They
Yeah.
realized why they loved it so much, right? And, you know, what you had asked the question about,
Process.
no, remember when she had asked about, have we ever gotten positive references for that?
Yeah.
So 24 Allerton, do you remember 2 Sable before you got licensed? The house that was in that same subdivision as 24 Allerton. So 24 Allerton came because of 2 Sable.
Nice.
So 2 Sable was the one where there was that, remember that single lady? I'm like, Farah, we got to do the whole thing. And you just like, we really wanted to get her. And you helped me before you were a realtor. You helped me carry furniture. You helped me clean. You helped me do, I put you through the
And carry furniture in the sense, not our furniture.
No.
But the seller's
previous-
furniture.
The seller stuff, we
to
put it
move out.
Yeah.
We rented that truck. We put it into a storage facility.
We
for her.
even got pulled over in that
Oh
truck.
my God, you're right.
We were on Major Mac going up that hill, passing the library. There's a police station right there.
Why did you get pulled over?
Because we were speeding. The for some reason the speed limit went down from 60 to 40, and conveniently right in front of the police station. So we're doing like 60, 70.
And we're in deep conversation. Like, it's my best friend. Looking at brother, like, we're just talking.
We're like we're messy. There's stuff in the back. We're going to a storage unit to help a client, and then cop pulls up, and I'm like, literally
And then what happened?
so worried. The guy comes up, and this guy, you know, he sweet talks himself right out of it. Right out of it. I'm like, this guy's good. Maybe I should become a realtor.
Altercation that you
Yeah, that did. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. He's like, you know, we're helping a client stage. I'm a realtor. We do this a lot. By the way, you're looking to sell your home, and
Yeah.
the opposite.
There you go.
He didn't turn to a client.
That's a negotiator you want selling your house.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
Take it like that. That's incredible.
Yeah, no,
Kudos
but
to you.
I think
Thank you.
that's, you know, what speaks to a lot of your success is trusting the process, you know, and going through the steps that are necessary. And that's why you have such a big book of business. That's why you're doing so well. They say that the man who loves to walk goes farther than the one who loves the destination, right? So
Say that again.
the man who loves to walk goes farther than the one who loves the destination.
Yeah. The success
Right.
is in the daily habits.
It's in the daily habits. It's all about, you know,
things that you do.
those tiny things.
Yeah, you have to love the hustle.
Mhm.
You have to love that. You can't be in business and just love the money at the end of the day.
Mhm.
No, because that's not rewarding.
100%.
But you know, you loving the hustle, you still, what many people don't know, and because I've had the privilege of working with yourself, working with your husband, Robbie Singh, who is a very well-established realtor and somebody I admire and respect, is that, yes, you'll hustle, but at the end of the day, you still very much value your family time,
Yes.
right? You've got an amazing family, loving husband, beautiful daughter. And, you know, the fact that you're able to balance these two, it truly amazes me all the time. You know,
Well, I trust the people that are a part of my company and part of my brand. And I built this empire so that I could take time away from the business. And when I'm now, no matter what I'm doing, I'm fully present. Like, I don't have to worry about my phone or people calling, it being in the day or not in the day. I block off that time and I give my entire attention to that. When I'm home and my phone is off, I give my entire attention to that.
That's really difficult, especially for an entrepreneur to be able to shut off and focus on what's at hand and to be very present.
It takes a lot of practice, but you're a better entrepreneur because of it. When you can control your mind to stop worrying about that stuff you can't control, you just become that much better of a leader and an entrepreneur because you're calm and you're working from a state of calm. Whereas if you're working from a state of fear, anxiety, stress, you're going to attract more of that.
I don't imagine, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, you were always this way,
No.
even in the beginning of the business. And how did you
I
transition?
think more so now this year than anything.
And is it because of the success that you've achieved, or is it mainly a mindset
When
thing?
you achieve more success, people are more stressed. They're, how do I keep it? Oh, what if someone leaves? Oh, what if I lose my business? What if I make a mistake? Like you can't say that. You have to trust the process. You have to have confidence that what you've built is strong, and irregardless of what comes daily, you're gonna be okay.
And do you think a lot of this is related to the great team that you have?
I have an amazing team.
I mean, we always chat about this, right? To invest into your business is the best way.
I invest
grow the
into my
business.
people. I invest into my people. And I'm smart in the sense where I find something that someone is very passionate about and I put them in that position and they excel in that area.
I've been fortunate enough to see everybody that's a part of the team at ALT when they first got started. Like everybody. Like, hi, they just started today. Hi, they were co-op student, now they're here. Hi, they just started here. And when, we're going, and I would see them, and the way these individuals have flourished into their own brand, their own identity, and they own it. And you know what I mean? And like, and I know all of them, and they all have their skills, and it's truly remarkable to see. I mean, even the guys, especially the guys, I don't know if you've had a chance to engage with them a lot.
The guys in the warehouse?
The guys in the warehouse, Peter, and like all the guys, they are
all cool guys.
They are such amazing human beings. And when they see me, hey, oh, my brother, wagwan, right? You're good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I stay blessed. And they're so good. And like, to the point, I'll come down, he's like, hey, Ali, can you come in for a second, man? You see the scratch, man? I mean, I do it today. This was here before. I said, bro, I trust you. He's like, no, we just want to tell you. So no, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like they're all like, it's a family.
Good people. They are so passionate about what they do as well. And they believe in the success and where we're going. And they just love it. Like I can't tell you how excited I am to wake up in the morning and see all of them.
How do you go about building a team that's so well shaped, that's perfect the way it is?
I have monthly meetings with them. I let them know that with our growth, I'm investing in their individual growth. They are motivated as well to see all of us succeed because, it comes out in their bonuses, it comes out in raises. I tell them that, what we're doing is we're helping people build wealth. And, I give them a reason to really fall in love with what they're doing. And they're passionate about it. And I'm an okay boss, I'm fun to work with.
So where is the business going now? A lot of big things are coming up. Love to hear about, different things that are exciting in your life.
So funny enough, I can openly and happily say that we have two thriving businesses. So staging is one division. Our interior design side is completely grown into a beautiful baby. And to the point where we're servicing 20 design leads a month So that is crazy. It's so busy.
Design leads
a month.
I remember when we redesigned the website.
Yes.
And, I remember looking at it and when you were changing it around and doing that stuff. 20 design leads a month.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. So those are the two.
And then we also have an online retail store as well. That hasn't kicked off.
This is the art thing.
Well, there's art, but we also sell furniture. We retail furniture online. So
no way, I didn't know that.
We have a Shopify website. So when you go, sometimes I don't know if you know this, but when someone buys something on your Shopify website, there's a sound. It's like cha-ching on your phone.
Yeah.
So it was like,
that's cool.
When we had launched the site, I think it was in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. My phone made that noise, and I tell you, I was so excited.
That's amazing.
But the thing is I don't like to put my eggs in too many baskets. Right now, we're really honing in on our interior design business and making sure that that's going to be a well-oiled engine, just like the staging side. And then we're going to start focusing our energy on the retail side. So there's so many ways you can grow in this business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And how do you stay diverse? There's so many different other companies like we mentioned. And you mentioned that, you have loyalty aspect, the relationship building. But what really sets ALT apart? And is it the different facets of the business, or is there something else that really sets you apart from the competition?
I think that we all care about our client's success at the end of the day. It really isn't transactional to us. But I have to say, I am a hunter. I am actively, door knocking brokerages to meet people. I don't sit back, I mean, the success is from the hard work that all of us are pouring into. And then when the lead comes in, it goes straight to my team, and then they have to close, and then the team has to design, and then the movers have to put it in. So it's like a whole team of us.
A well-oiled machine. It's a great process you have.
And that's another thing, our systems. We have great systems, for everything.
Our systems are pretty legit, and she hates me because I hate following the process. Right? Like there's a system, like you got to go here, like do this.
Site,
I just call
form.
for
Well, that's
Yeah.
the relationship side.
That is a
And
relationship.
you know what? All my clients that do that, still, I love them because I don't mind that. And I'll forward it to Victoria.
Yeah, no, and
take care
and she will, and shout out to Victoria.
Yeah.
No, that's truly remarkable. From the design element of things, where are you seeing? You know, we've seen different types of things. We've seen farmhouse chic. We've seen organic. We've seen that. What are you seeing as trends for 2024?
You know what? I feel like we're seeing minimalistic come back. I'm seeing a lot of curvature in furniture. If you guys can remember like what the 60s era furniture looked like very busy marbles with like a pinky undertone, beige. So it's like that vibe coming back again. A lot of curvature too. which
Like
I
that
love.
70s show kind of thing?
Old school stuff.
That was like more 60s, like more
60s,
classic, like more
classic.
Marilyn Monroe
Ooh,
kind of vibe, you know? Like a Hollywood glam.
oh damn.
Chic and elegant.
Yeah.
Hollywood
chic,
glam.
elegant, Hollywood. Yeah.
What's the hottest color right now?
So
Paint colors.
the paint colors?
Yeah, like what are we talking about? Off whites? Is it still whites?
Well, Benjamin Moore's color of the year is this like really pale blue. So
Have you had a chance to use it yet?
you know what? I actually have in the paintings. And I spoke to Vanessa, who's our lead designer, about this. She says that like pastels are coming back. So like light blues, light yellows, light greens.
That's what you got done in your house recently.
I did.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely did.
So that's
Right.
I mean, but that's a trend, right? And when you're investing in interior design, you don't want to follow a trend because then you're gonna have to redo it in a few years.
You want something timeless.
You want something timeless. You just took the word exactly.
I was
That's
about
a
to say too.
perfect word. And contemporary or transitional, you don't have to change. So my suggestion is to buy contemporary furniture and then do trends with the accessories or the decor.
What's the weirdest staging or design request you've ever received from a client? Could be funny or just off white, just weird. And you didn't, maybe you fully weren't invested in it, but you were like, okay, client comes first.
Like a request from the client.
Yeah.
To do I don't know if anyone
Nothing weird?
anything weird. That's
Nothing too
no.
bizarre,
I
huh?
want to ask you for like a full blackout house.
No.
No, right?
No.
It's a little
no,
bit too
but-
moody.
Yeah, no. I haven't had any weird requests, but I've seen an awful lot of things.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
like in a staging consultation.
And you're like, oh my God, how do you maintain that? Because going through someone's house, right? Like
Right.
I've got a fair bit of kids. And, when I had you come over to do the interior design consultation, I know that like, I was like, oh my goodness. Like,
Oh, your house was immaculate.
okay, but like we had to clean for days before that because it's like, it's like, Mick, you've seen my house when we got like, the kids.
Typical for a lot of homeowners.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like we've seen, like number twos in the toilet.
Ooh.
We've seen like sexual objects on display.
Oh, damn. Like just there.
Awkward stuff,
Oh,
right?
damn.
And
And you got to maintain like,
you gotta be like
you gotta
so
be like-
professional.
you got to just be like, yeah.
And in my mind, I'm thinking, you knew we were coming over. Like, what are you doing? But it is what it is. It comes with the territory. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
What do you think about digital staging? Because I know that's something that's coming up a lot. Sometimes we're looking at homes. and we're-
Virtual staging.
virtual
Great
staging.
idea
Yeah.
for tenanted properties.
Mhm.
So virtual staging is great because it allows you to showcase beautiful photos on MLS, right?
Mm,
But the magic is when the person gets to the house.
correct.
So when you have the opportunity to physically stage, you should invest in that. But if you have a tenant in a property that they're not moving out, then we have the ability to remove the seller's furniture or the tenant's furniture and put virtual staging in there.
This is something you guys do as well.
Yes, so we do virtual staging.
So this is never going to take you out of the business, right? Virtual staging is not coming for your job.
I'm sorry, no. No. AI is not coming for anyone's job
No
either.
one.
This is a relationship business. And when buyers are looking for homes, they buy emotionally. So you must consider the fact that it's a human being at the end of the transaction. And there's no virtual staging that's going to replace the emotion that you see when you walk through a beautiful stage home. Absolutely not.
No, I think you're absolutely correct. And, we have a lot of realtors in the business. You and I have done this. How many do we have?
80,000.
80,000. Yeah. But only 40,000 of them actually do one deal.
Mm-hmm.
Less than
Per year.
per year.
Yeah.
Insane.
Is that including rentals?
I don't.
I hope not.
I don't believe
No,
so.
don't.
Rental
I don't believe so.
Rental is a transaction.
Rental-
Yeah, but it's not a
transaction.
sell or a buy, so I'm not sure that even counts.
Well, regardless, right? Like that's a very low number.
Yes.
And you know, everyone's got an uncle, an aunt, a friend, or this or that who's in the business. It's just, to me, it's a disservice.
Right.
And when not a disservice, not use us,
Yeah.
although it is, but it's a disservice when people do not showcase a property in its best light.
Absolutely.
And I will sooner walk away from a listing than allow a client to negotiate the staging or this aspect out of it, because I've lost deals where I was like, they're like, no, you need to do it cheaper. I'm like, I can't. I won't,
Right.
because the value I'm giving, we don't need staging. You've heard this all the time. I've got great furniture. I've had this one in Kleinberg, that house that we had gone to do the consultation on. I'm forgetting the street name now. And he's like, this is the sofa is from Bombay.
Right.
This is Bombay.
Was your client from England, or where's this accent from?
He was from the subcontinent.
Okay.
And and his furniture was like very Taj Mahal Maharaja stuff. And I was like, I get it, but the prospective buyer that's buying here,
Yes.
I told him the ethnicities of them. I told him the ages of them, because you have to understand who is the demographic that's buying the property.
Absolutely.
And you're staging to them, not what you like.
Yeah.
You, Mr. Seller, you might like oak wood long furniture.
About you.
It's not about
your
you.
house anymore.
Precisely what I told him. I said, the moment you sign, this is no longer your house. No, I'm not throwing parties and having a jam in here. But what I mean by that is no pictures, no religious artwork,
All personal aspects.
everything, because you literally want them to walk in and feel like,
It's their home.
I'm home.
Yes.
But even the smell, to be honest. Like,
Yes.
we've been to a showing, and to be honest, I've had a client that just wants to walk out just from the smell of the home, right? And as we always say, the client will have an opinion about the home, whether they're going to buy it or not, in the first 10 to 15 seconds of walking.
Curb appeal is so important too. As soon as they walk up,
You guys also manage the
you
outside
guys-
of the house?
you guys have done a great job, because I know Ali and you both you guys take this very seriously.
Yeah.
So we always buy a new welcome mat for the front door
Yeah.
that says welcome home. Subliminally, that's a great message to send to your buyer. Seal the driveway, paint the door, add greenery, because if you show them a well-presented house on the outside, then they're likely going to think that that's going to be the same on the inside. But I want to talk about pricing, because you and I haven't actually spoken about how I go about pricing staging services.
We've never talked about it.
No, so let's do that. So what I like to say is you take the value of the home and you add a percentage to the value. Okay, so something that costs between $500,000 to $1 million, you say to your seller, you're going to invest 0.5% to stage this home. 0.5% of the value, which is $2,500 to $5,000 at that price point. And then $1 million to $2.5 million, you're going to invest 0.4% on a vacant property. And then when you go to 2.5 to 5, you're going to invest 0.3%, which is $7,500 and $10,000. That just gives you a framework to follow to help them understand that you're not even investing 1% of the value of the home to showcase and market it to its best ability.
And
That's less than 1% of what you're asking.
to have the seller present that, to have the seller invest into that.
Yes. Like you have to say, seller, Mr. Homeowner, to make this house shine and to offer you potentially $100,000 over, you're going to spend $2,500. What bank is going to offer you interest like that? What investment is going to give you that return when you're taking 0.5% of the value of your home that could potentially earn you $50,000 or $100,000 on that sale? So another question I would say to the seller is, how can you ask me to compete with 1% realtors? At the end of the day, this is what your staging fee looks like for quality staging, minimum $2,500 on a vacant home. Then you have to pay your brokerage. Then you have to pay your taxes. Then you have to pay the marketing, then the cleaning. And in Ali, in your case, the painting, the light fixtures, you guys go well and above, what most realtors do. How does a 1% realtor even afford that? They're going to make nothing at the end of the deal. So how are they motivated to get you top dollar? They're not. But seller, you give me the armor that I need to make this marketable. I'm going to make you $100,000 more and sell your deal. It's a no-brainer.
Not
That's how
many
you
people
are.
understand that, though.
Well, you have to. That's right, and it's your job to
Yeah.
help the other seller
You have to
understand your
really
value.
position it well.
Yes, and Ali's very smart. He's very intuitive because he realized the value of certain things early on, and that's why he was like, no, I'm worth this much. and this is why.
Yeah.
So
And I think that's what you've taken that mantra and move forward with it as you did with 24 Allerton, right?
yeah,
You managed that process from start to finish, and ultimately the seller was so impressed with what we had done, and he gifted you a Coach bag, the Coach briefcase, right? Which
very generous.
that's never happened. I was when he told me, I was literally baffled, because usually on the sale of a property, it's us that are thankful to the client. They were so appreciative, and mind you, remember, this came from Two Sable. So that home was listed with another realtor. It was staged with another staging company.
Two Sable.
No, 24 Allerton.
24 Alton, okay.
And the realtor who had listed it actually reached out to me. He reached out to me and he's like, who did you use for staging? I said, A Lady's Touch. He's like, okay. And I said, contact them, but you should know they're not cheap.
Right.
He contacted you.
Yeah.
You gave him a quote.
Yeah.
He went and used someone else. He didn't sell it.
I think that's right.
And
that's the other thing. You invest in staging, but if you invest in the wrong staging, it could actually do more harm to the house.
it's terrible.
It could be worse. And it's, why are people finagling over your commission? Because if they go with someone cheaper, there's so much money on the table, because that person that's doing it at 1%, yeah, you're saving maybe 10, 15, 20,000 on them, but you really lost like 50, 100K on your house.
And they don't see that big picture, right? Everyone thinks that their homes are, perfect, phenomenal the way it is. And, it comes down to loyalty, I think, for me. And,
What's loyalty mean to you?
What does loyalty mean to me? Loyalty to me means through thick and thin, we have each other's backs.
Yeah.
And, this guy sitting to the right of me, he's my best friend. He's my brother. And I know he's loyal. There's nothing anyone could say to me that wouldn't warrant me decking them in the face before ever doubting this guy.
That's right.
Right. And when it comes to business relationships, I'm loyal, sometimes to a fault, because I'm not using another stager. It is what it is. I don't even, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't even check what you charge me. Like, you just give me a quote. Like, I don't go and say, and you've asked sometimes, you're like, Ali, did you compare it to what we did last time? And I'm like, no. And you're like, take a look. And I was like, I gave you a 10% discount. I was like, oh, thank you. But it's because I know what I'm getting. I know the value.
There's so much competition out there. You have to have someone in your corner that's going to have your back.
Like, the fact is, right now we're filming this podcast. It is, what time is it? The actual time. The time is 9:16. Farah, you usually go to bed at?
9.
9.
Bed.
Yeah, right? Because
When do you wake up?
5.
and
True hustler.
true
Entrepreneur
hustler.
life.
And, the fact that, I can call Farah, very successful, multi-millionaire individual that's from the ground up built. And she's like, I'm there. That's loyalty to me.
100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, vice versa, man. You've been there for me since day one.
Appreciate it.
And I thank you for that. And I just applaud you guys for really servicing your clients. It isn't about making money for you guys at the end of the day. That's a byproduct of being, a good person. But ultimately, you're when you're in that house, you're like, I need to make sure that my seller walks away with as much money as possible. That's the impression that you left on me.
Absolutely.
Which is why, that inspired me to do so well by you, because I actually admired that passion to help someone else, as opposed to, I need a cheap stager, I need to make as much money out of this deal as possible. Me. A lot of realtors go around like that.
People can see right through that sort of idea, and they can see that energy right away. And you're huge on feeling someone's energy, and I think that's what we were both chatting about before, right? We have to make sure that energy stays high, vibrations are high, always positive, and looking for the right, doing things the right way.
Right. Yeah.
Before we close it out, I think that there's certain trades or professions in our industry that can have a crystal ball as to what's happening in the market. One of those things, or one of those key ones, is your business. So when we see a property get listed today, you've known about it 2 weeks ago. So a lot of people have said that, you were actually telling me that you were reading an article saying that we're technically in the spring market and it's shifting.
People have a lot of FOMO. They're trying to get into it quick
Yes.
as possible.
You can
What are you seeing?
The exact same thing. I think a lot of people that were on the fence last year, end of quarter, there wasn't any activity for fall. It was quiet. January comes around, they held the interest rates, And now people are like, okay, if the interest rate continues to fall or stay as it is, prices are going to go up. So now they're thinking, I want to get on. And they're buying right now as well. So I'm seeing the busiest January I've ever experienced. A lot of
busier than the January.
2020, busier than 2021.
No way.
Like
2020, we had a ridiculous
I
January.
know.
You're busier than then.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, like this is crazy.
Means that a lot of beautifully staged homes are on the market.
And they're selling quickly.
Really?
They're selling quickly. So this is great. When properties sell, then we get our furniture quickly. We don't have to continuously buy. We can, do it again for someone else. Like this is a healthy market is what I'm experiencing. So a lot of people that are waiting for the spring, I think you should get on sooner.
Get on sooner.
Yeah, I think
Reach out to
the Dewji Realty team.
the Dewji Realty team.
The hardest working people. And I'll tell you that I've been in this industry almost a decade. And I have to say, like Ali and Mikhail, they care about you and they care about your home. So you want to work with these two.
Oh, wow, that's
Very kind.
That's too kind, man. Farah, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's honestly, it's a proud moment for me to be sitting here the way we are today and to be able to have this conversation because you've had such a huge impact on my success. I'm really grateful that you were able to join us today. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
coming.
Thank you so much.
Well, everybody, again, this is the DRI podcast. I'm your host, Ali Dewji.
And Mikhail Dewji with Dewji Realty. Stay tuned for the next one. If you have any ideas of who you'd like to see on here next, any topics, let us know, and we'll be sure to take that into consideration.
Bye for now.
Peace.